The statistics are staggering. So far this year, at least 150 people have been shot in Minneapolis and St. Paul. That is more than one person a day. Each person pierced by a bullet faces recovery.
Last night at 10, Jennifer Mayerle shared behind every bullet is a real person who knows firsthand the true cost of gunfire. We introduced you to Xavion Brown and his mom, Maine. The 22-year-old is a paraplegic after being struck by gunfire for the 11th time. He shared he joined a gang at a young age and how his decisions caught up with him. Here's part of that report.
What happened, or where were you shot?
I was shot in the leg with a 12-gauge shotgun. That was the very first one that I got shot with. Back then, was looking for money to try to come up and was car shopping and ripping and running the streets, stealing cars, like just doing dumb stuff. And karma caught up to me very quick that day.
He says he was shot several more times over the course of about 2 years.
I was like target practice. Like 2 years straight, I was back and forth in the hospital from getting shot left and right. The recovery was just like, I couldn't even get the opportunity to recover. Kept on getting shot. What
Toll must that have taken on not just your body, but your mind and your well-being and everything else?
The toll, I'm surprised I can sit here and smile right now. Like, at moments I do be wanting to like just give up, but I know that there's something out there for me.
And Jennifer Mayerle is here with more on this look on the cost of gunfire. Tough story to listen to, definitely. How did his story start, and how did this story begin?
You know, we know that gun violence and gunfire is a problem in our community and around the country, and we wanted to know, what does that really look like for an individual and in our community? And, you know, the pain and the cost doesn't stop when you leave the hospital, neither does the injury. So for some, it can be long-lasting. And so we wanted to give a real look at what happens after you leave the hospital and what does life look like for that person, but not only that person, but the people who care about them.
And I hope that Xavion knows, because he's trying to figure out what's next in his life, right? He said that at the end of the clip we showed. And I feel like just sharing his story is so powerful. We never get to hear, like you said, about what happens after these shootings happen.
You know, and he hopes that his story actually helps younger kids realize that this is not the path to go down. He was so real and honest about his life, and that's what he told us up front. And, you know, it came across in what he shared with us. Some of it I knew about his story, about his background. Some of it I learned with him as we were talking. But it really struck me with how honest he was about, you know, when his life, you know, started with crime and getting involved and having that first gunshot wound at a young age to, you know, this last one, you know, now he's 22.
And this is just the first of a few stories we have in this series. You have another one coming up tonight.
That's right. We also wanted to look at people who are coming into contact with the people who have been shot and who have been a victim of gun violence. So here's some of what you'll hear tonight.
I think about people whose bodies and their minds are never the same after they're shot. And often innocent people who are in the wrong place at the wrong time or trying to go about their day.
The cost of gun violence to me is the health and wellness of the individual and the community. It robs people so much of the hope of purpose and moving forward in a life that they can contribute and serve and be successful.
So tonight at 10, we'll continue the conversation. We'll hear from people who witnessed the aftermath of gunfire and who are at the table, who are offering hope and healing.
We need to hear those parts too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John.